On today's episode of Keeping It Real, Cam Marston remembers one of the most fun nights out on the town he's ever had.
In front of me is a photo of one of the most fun evenings I've ever had. My wife and I were one of 4 couples invited to jump in a Sprinter van at noon on a Saturday and head to New Orleans for the day and into the night. We'd walk Bourbon Street, we'd eat at a busy restaurant, and we might have a few drinks. We'd be back in Mobile shortly after midnight. The hitch was that the guys had to be dressed in Elvis costumes and the girls in Vegas showgirl outfits. My wife and I said yes. We realized when we got to the van, all the guys had the same identical Elvis costume. The girls were in the same costume too, but that was no surprise. They began preparing their costume a couple of months before the trip. They wore sequin dresses, which were short and tight. This is not the type of stuff my wife ever wears. So when she tried it on the first time, I stared. They each wore a different color wig, and it was all topped with a big, fanning white crown made up of ostrich plumes and tall zip ties painted with silver glitter. They looked fantastic. They struggled to breathe, but they looked fantastic. I failed to mention that it was the Saturday before Halloween, when the French Quarter explodes in costumes. Locals, as well as people from afar, show up to show off. We weren't the only ones decked out. But we were the only 5 Elvises and 5 Vegas showgirls together, and we got attention. We stepped onto Bourbon Street in costume, in character, and ready to go. And before the van door had closed behind us, we had posed for a dozen photos or more. People wanted our picture. They lined us up and stood with us. Then women pulled the Elvises aside for pictures with only us. We were calling ourselves the Roving Elvi. Men stood with the women for pictures with the Vegas showgirls. Our group stood in the same spot posing for 20 minutes or more before we could move. And we'd just arrived. People were even offering us money to take pictures with us. And it was like that all night long. All night long. It was so much fun. Our host had arranged for a photographer to meet us that evening when the light was perfect. She had started taking pictures of us before she was even sure we were her clients. Her pictures were fantastic, and one of them is in front of me right now. Our group is shoulder to shoulder across Royal Street, posing and in character, with smiles. Lots of smiles. COVID-19 has stolen this fun from all of our lives. I ache to go to a party, to visit with a big group of friends. Experts say that unless an effective vaccine is found, we may never return to this. Those events are gone. Good Lord. I can't even stand the thought. I'm Cam Marston, and I'm just trying to keep it real.
To hear more of Cam Marston's commentaries, search for Keeping It Real on your favorite podcast app or find them on Facebook.